the phase 2 update. So for those of you guys who don't know, there is a building committee that has been working in our church for, I think, 3 or 4 years now. I got to join this committee about 3 or 4 months ago, so I've only been on it for a little while, but I've really enjoyed serving with these guys. Ethan, can you get the clicker? Hey, Ethan, clicker. For those of you who weren't here 3 years ago or so, the issue that our church was having was that we were running out of classroom space. And we were also running out of parking. So over the past couple of years, we've even had a couple little minor accidents in the parking lot because it's been over full. And then on Friday nights, a lot of the Chinese small groups will meet in our church. There's also an Awana children's program, and there's a youth group program. So we've been having issues running out of classroom space. The other goal is that eventually on Sundays we want to worship at the same time, the two congregations. Right now you know that we're at 9:45, and then the main Chinese one is at 11 o'clock. So hopefully with this new phase 2, we'll have enough space so that Chinese can worship here, and the English will be able to worship in a big room in the phase 2 building. If you don't remember what the phase 2 plan looks like, here it is. On the right side of the screen, you see where that extra building is going to be attached. That has a lot of classrooms in it. It has a large fellowship room in it. And then you can see there's a larger parking lot. Eventually, there will be a very nice playground as well. We're not quite sure where that'll be yet. The timeline of all this was back in the end of 2019, the church voted to move forward with phase 2. And then it's taken a couple of years to get all the drawings done, to go back and forth with the county. That takes a lot of work, and I applaud our building committee for doing all that work for us. As of last month, we got 5 different bids from contractors, and we got preliminary approval for loans from a couple of banks. The building committee took this to the deacon board with the recommendation of moving forward. And the deacon board also recommended moving forward with the stipulation that we get feedback from the congregation first. The main reason the deacons wanted to do that is because they realized there is a large financial change between 2019, when the church voted, and today. If you look at the cost of materials and the cost of construction, as all of you guys know, it's really increased a lot recently. So originally when we voted for this to move forward, it was $1.2 million estimated budget. And now that price has gone up according to the bids we've received. Ethan, I need my clicker back, sorry. There we go. All right, so now the new estimate is around 2.2 total. We've already spent about 100,000, and we still have about 2.1 to go. Construction cost is 1.8. All the other peripheral stuff is another 200,000, and to get a really nice playground is about another 100,000. So that's about a difference of around $1 million, and that's why the deacons were concerned and they wanted to get feedback from the congregations. In order to pay off this extra money, we've been able to secure a $1.25 million loan. We've already fundraised a decent amount, $350,000, including what we've had built up over savings over the last few years. We will also need to fundraise from our congregation another $500,000 before we can secure the loan. So what this means for us is we need to get the $500,000, that means all of us will have to, donate towards that fundraising. Ethan, next slide, please. Hey, Ethan, next slide, please. Oh, you can't, all right. So the other impact is with this new loan, our current annual loan payment on this building is $47,000 a year. We're going to pay that off, and then we're going to have this new loan, the $1.25 million. The new annual loan payment on that will be about $94,000, so about twice as much. What this basically comes down to is that on average, if you give to our church, we'll need you to give about 12% more each year. So that's what we want you guys to pray about. And this is the action we ask you guys to take. When I was blessed to be a part of the deacon meeting when they were discussing this big change. And one of the deacons I was really thankful for spoke up and said, hey, we need to be praying more about this instead of just discussing what our personal preferences are, to move forward with it or to stay back on it. Like, let's just pray and listen to what God wants to do. So we really do encourage you guys to pray about this. And then step 2 is to give your feedback. There's different opportunities for you to give that feedback. One is this afternoon at 3 o'clock, there will be a Zoom call for the English side, and it'll be a Q&A session / discussion session, and we can hear from you what your feedback is on this. Secondly, there will be a link sent out at some point after that, where it's just a very general survey form, and you can type into it as much as you want and submit it, and that will go straight to the deacons, and they'll consider your feedback. I think my biggest concern over all of this is that we don't want any church division to happen through this decision-making process. So, as I was saying earlier, we know that Christ is the head of our church. And so our goal as a church is to just pray, to listen, and to figure out where the Spirit is leading our church. And this is part of that process. So we really do encourage you guys to give that feedback. And the last thing you can do is to continue to contribute to the building fund. Whether we move forward with this this year, or whether we decide to postpone it for a while, we still need to be raising money for this building fund. So I encourage you guys to do that. All right, and now I'll invite Jesse to come on up and do our budget for this year. Thank you, Jesse.